please keep in mind these meetings may be audio or visually recorded. Will any members present please state their name for the record?
William Murphy.
Zoe Netchick.
Matthew Bravo is chair. Seeing as there are 4 members present, quorum has been established. Will any members of the public please state their name for the record?
Tyler Sklar.
All right, we're now moving into our first interview of the day. What? Oh, thank you.
Good call.
Yeah, let's do.
Oh, your abs are on your home screen. Wow. Do you want me to take? Okay. Yeah.
Either or works. Oh, and who would like to take minutes for this?
I can you send me the, it's on the SG.
Yeah, there are past examples of minute templates.
Just like do anything.
I'll start it.
Yeah. Ready?
Yep. Okay, we're moving into our first interview today, which is Mayas Galerios. Apologies for incorrect pronunciation for the Judiciary Committee seat. The one up to Judiciary Committee seat we see. Thank you.
Where on the SG website?
So if you go down.
Where are you gonna have them sit?
What's up? There's a lot of seats. Oh yeah, I guess.
Right.
Yeah. Do we want to bring the table in closer to us?
We can like pull a one of those.
What's that making? I think that was too awkward for too far.
Yeah. I feel some pressure. Any of these past ones works. Exact one. Yep.
Is this updated? Oh wait, just
You're gonna have like pre-made email.
This might be a little boring. Maybe actually go to other people's.
I was gonna say, being in the solo chair.
I prefer that though.
I also
being
prefer
way
that.
back there.
Really?
Yeah.
No.
Ooh, smart. But
Yeah.
she's not here, so.
Not really.
Yeah. Oh, should
Well, I mean, it's 10:10, so we can
What
give
time is
her
your interview at?
10:10, or it's 10:09. It's 10:10.
Riley's the only one who's here so far.
Okay, Riley's the next interview at 10:15.
I have faith.
Yeah.
Do you think she could have gone to SG conference room by accident or like?
No,
tried
I
to
sent it
go
on the
upstairs?
email and it said.
We were
it's
downstairs.
room
I feel like
2,
we would have sitting on here.
Also, she couldn't get into the SG conference room.
Yeah, that she comes.
Right, but I'm just saying, like, do you think she's on the third floor? I mean, that's not.
I don't think so. Yeah,
I'm not gonna make you all the way up here. Just
Well, she wouldn't have access to it anyway. Yeah, I guess we'll wait till 10:14, and then if not, we'll go ahead with Riley's interview.
I mean, I should be outside for like 2 minutes. See if she comes.
did Tyler state his name for the record?
Yeah, he did. Yep.
Still not.
If they don't show, should I just leave their name out of the?
Well, typically what would happen is that I would move them to the very last spot on the sheet. So yeah, that would move them to the last spot on the sheet, and then if they can't show up,
Is she
to that,
on
then
call?
they can't. No, she didn't fill out the phone interview contact
Oh,
form.
good.
I can call her though. I mean, just see where she is. Yeah. Hi, are you at the rights for your interview? Oh, we're in room 2103. No worries. Yep. It's on the second floor. There's a door propped open outside. Yeah, here underneath the SG portal kind of area. Right. Yep.
Was she upstairs?
Yep. She was just standing outside the third floor.
Awesome.
I don't know why.
It says it on the email. Yeah, I don't think we had from used to that.
We called to order at 10.
Might have been early, I think 10:07.
I'll listen back.
Hi,
Hi.
how are you?
Good.
Please feel free. All the hard work
Oh.
for not.
Never mind. You can sit there if you want, or you
Oh,
can. It doesn't
I
matter.
don't want.
It doesn't matter.
I'll send you it's okay.
Sorry, I didn't realize it was this room.
No worries.
Oh, you're good.
Alright. Alright, well, good afternoon. You know us, and we're just gonna ask you a few questions and see what we can do for you as far as your committee application goes. So for the timing of this, you'll have 4 minutes for questions, and then a limited time for technical questions. You ready to get into it?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Alright, so what are your motivations for applying to this seat?
So this past summer, I interned at my local congressman's office, and in this role, I was the first point of contact between constituents calling and the congressman himself, and I also got to hear either the happiness in people's voices of them being heard and liking what was going on, or also them feeling misrepresented and misheard. And being able to be in this position, I realized that I wanted to get involved in student government at University of Florida. And in this role, I decided to apply and run for Senate. And in Senate, over the past few months, I realized I want to take a more active role in being able to represent people even more. And I feel like being able to debate and read legislation before meetings on Tuesday would really allow me to play a more active role. And also, going to judiciary meetings previously, it really made me want to apply because I really connected and felt like the meetings were a really great place to get more involved.
Great. What experiences do you have that would make you a good fit for this position?
I feel like I'd be really good for this position because I feel like I'm really involved in all areas of campus, and this gives me a really wide perspective. I'm hearing multiple different people's opinions and ideas, so when I could bring a fresh new ideas and perspectives to the actual meeting themselves, I feel like I'm involved in Kappa Alpha Theta, Dance Marathon, Florida Rookie Speech and Debate, and then also the big event. So I feel like constantly being surrounded by different people, not just the same people. I'm hearing different concerns voiced all the time, and I think this would allow me to be really beneficial to the actual meetings. Then also, as I previously talked about my experience at the congressman's office, I cultivated skills that I feel like would be really beneficial to this position, like reading legislation and being a part of the actual legislative process, and then also looking over things like grammar, spelling, things like that, and then also oftentimes summarizing legislation and then explaining it to constituents. I feel like all of these things would really prepare me for this role. And then I also previously clerked for the Judiciary Committee, so I feel like having that experience too would really allow me to be really impactful because I already have some sort of idea of kind of what happens within the meetings.
Great. And then what ideas do you have if you were to be selected for this role?
So what I want to do if I was selected would be to really focus on the accessibility and then also efficiency of the meetings. So one way I would want to do that is to work really closely with the INC committee and to post videos online on all different various platforms to be able to explain to both new senators or any senators and then also students on campus so they could more easily and accessibly read legislation and understand it. Because I feel like for this, for students, it would be better fit to understand kind of what Senate actually does. And I feel like then they'd be able to better self-advocate because a lot of times people voice complaints but they don't actually know what the Senate does, so then we can't properly do anything and then they feel misheard, but it's also a lot of times not within our position. But I feel like if they were able to read legislation, they could see like what we can actually do. And then also going along with that, for the new senators, I feel like this would allow more legislation to oftentimes be written because people would feel more comfortable writing legislation, and then we would get more things done. And then also it would make the meetings more efficient because a lot of times things that would be corrected in the actual meetings would already be fixed prior. And then also for other ideas I had would be to make some sort of spreadsheet so people on the committee could go to different student meetings and organizations and really connect with their constituency and see what needs to be done. And And then also I'd wanna do a Meet Your Senator event with INC, so then they could also come to us with ideas, not just us trying to come up with it.
All right, we'll now move into the technical questions portion. All right, so we'll start with, what are the 5 criteria for reviewing all legislation?
Legality, constitutionality, implication, clarity, format.
And what is the procedure for reviewing legislation in the Judiciary Committee?
So there's 5 minutes of presentation from the author sponsor of the bill, and there's 5 minutes of Q&A, and then there's 5 minutes of debate, and then there's 2 minutes of final privilege.
And what can the Judiciary Committee move to do to legislation besides amending it?
They can either pass it, fail it, postpone it, or table it.
All right, do you have any questions for us?
I do not.
All right, well, thank you very much.
Thank you. I also have my resume and I do.
Sure.
Those.
We'll get it later.
No worries.
Don't worry.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good one.
Thank
Bye.
you, you too. All right, we are now in line for Riley Smolensky for the Open Judiciary Committee as well.
Hi.
Good,
Good, thanks. How are you?
thank you.
I'll do the timer.
Okay, thank you. All right, well, thank you for joining us today. You know all of us for the Replacement Agenda Committee, and we'll see if we can help you out with the committee application. All right, so you're applying for the Open Judiciary Committee seat,
Yes.
correct? Great. So how the interview will work, 4 minutes of questions, of the open-ended questions, and then unlimited time for the technical questions afterwards. If you have any questions for us, feel free to ask. But if you're ready to get into it, we can start.
Yeah, absolutely.
All right, great. So what is your motivation for applying for this seat?
So my motivation to join or to apply for the Judiciary Committee stems from the same commitment that motivated me to join student government and Senate in the first place, and that is a deep passion for leadership and service, and also a really deep desire to leave an impact on UF that is lasting and meaningful. My time that I've spent in Senate, though it has been short, it's been incredibly formative. Not only because of the meaningful work that I feel a part of now, but because of the constant support and guidance of my fellow senators who have been some of the smartest, most hardworking students that I've been introduced to at UF. The way that they've shown me that leaders from varying backgrounds can come together and drive significant change has really motivated me as a first-generation college student to continue working with my peers, and now to take on the responsibility that's going to further sharpen my complex thinking, communication skills, and leadership in general. My time spent working in Senate with bringing a peer tutoring program into the business school has helped me rediscover my interest in the inner workings of government and legislation and the process that makes policy possible. So I'm really excited because the Judiciary Committee sits at the heart of that work. It would allow me to review legislation and student organizational constitutions and allow me to review them with a focus of clarity and consistency and focusing on long-term impact. As an aspiring attorney, especially, I focus on putting myself in rooms where I feel like I can be challenged and I can learn, and I'm excited to spend more time with the Judiciary Committee because these senators really model the professionalism and preparation and diligence that I strive to embody. Ultimately, I would like to bring a open-minded, thoughtful mindset to the Judiciary Committee that is grounded in integrity and neutrality while learning more about how the decisions that Senate makes impacts the broader framework of UF student government and student-run organizations.
So what experiences do you have that you feel would make you a good fit for this position?
I'm confident that my prior experiences will make me an effective Judiciary Committee member because they have strengthened my skills where I feel are most necessary for this position, which is sharp communication, strong attention to detail, and the ability to balance competing priorities fairly and effectively. My time spent in Senate and immersed in the business school has deepened my understanding of governing documents and the process behind legislation. And as I said, that will help me review legislation with clarity, focusing on long-term impact. But additionally, my time spent as a legal intern over the summer sharpened my research and analysis skills in ways that directly apply to judiciary work. Reviewing case discovery, building case outlines, and applying the law taught me how to thoroughly read through documents, pick out any potential issues, and discuss my findings in a professional, clear manner. Additionally, as I've mentioned before, working on this peer tutoring program has really taught me the importance of language and procedure in making sure an idea can be implemented effectively. And I think that this will further help me in evaluating legislation, amendments, and resolutions and bills, of course. Ultimately, my involvement in YLC as small group leader.
That is time. All right, well, we will now move to technical questions. So if you're ready to get started with those, we can begin now.
Absolutely.
All right, great. So what are the 5 criteria for reviewing all legislation?
Constitutionality, implication, legality, format, and clarity.
And what is the procedure for reviewing legislation in the Judiciary Committee?
It begins with 5 minutes of presentation from the sponsor or author of the legislation, 5 minutes of Q&A from the Judiciary Committee, 5 minutes of debate, and then 2 minutes of final verdict.
And what can the Judiciary Committee move to do to legislation besides amend it?
They can pass it, postpone it, table it, or fail it.
Thank you. Do you have any questions for us?
I don't. Have you spent time on the Judiciary Committee?
Who's the chair?
Oh, okay, perfect. What's like the biggest lesson that you think you've pulled from Judiciary Committee?
I think when you're on Judiciary, the biggest thing that you see mistakes being made at are the little things in bills. Overarching issues of bills, people can sit and argue about things like implication all day. What we see more than anything else is grammar edits, formatting issues, things that need to be fixed like that. And it takes up a vast majority of the committee's time. It's a lot of basically acting like a Grammarly for authors, and it shouldn't be that way in my opinion, but that's the biggest thing that I've seen, and that's the biggest lesson I take away is I've seen a lot of people's bills fail for things that they shouldn't fail for.
Yeah.
Just tiny grammar edits, so.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, of course.
Very
All right, well, thank you for joining us today. We appreciate
Thank
it.
you so much for having me. Have a great rest of your day.
Bye.
Thank you.
All right, next we got Carolyn Kim, the Judiciary Committee. Bless you. Good.
Yeah. Good morning.
Hey, Caroline. All right. Well, thanks for spending some of your Sunday with us, all of us, and we'll see if we can help you with your committee application. All right. Well, so the format for this interview will be 4 minutes for the more open-ended questions, and you'll have unlimited time for technical questions. If there's any questions that you have, feel free to ask them at the end or right now. Is there anything before we get started?
No, not the moment.
All right, let's get into it. So what's your motivation for applying to the seat?
Yeah, I think my biggest motivation, just like at its core, is being a pre-law student. I've done a lot of contemplating on which committee I think I could best contribute to and which I could learn the most from. And I think that as a pre-law student, And also just like working with legislature as a congressional intern, I've really found a passion for working with any sort of judicial like review, legislation, things of that nature, and I think that I could definitely carry over into a pre-law career. More so than that, another way that I'd love to contribute is as I'm working on the Women's Caucus as well as the Mental Health Ad Hoc Committee, I'd love to bring like skills and knowledge from experience on the Judiciary Committee and be able to like equip other senators with further motivation and skill and to bring about the best legislature possible, best resolutions, bills, whatever that may be. Yeah, I think that's about it.
All right, thank you. And what are some experiences that you have that you feel would make you a good fit for the role?
I think the biggest experience that's helped out directly for this experience has been clerking throughout the summer as well as in my current term. Through that process, even though it may just sound like taking notes, I feel like being able to hear every single motion and every single process of review that happens in those meetings, I've been able to learn how the Judiciary Committee promotes transparency as well as applies the criteria to actual pieces of legislation to make sure the best products are available and that the best progress comes about to the rest of the Senate as well as the student body. And then I also think just like in terms of technical skills, I think that being a congressional intern, having worked with having to be very detail oriented and working with like constitutional advocacy, I think I could apply that same skill base to the committee. I know a lot of it has to do with just making sure every little detail is perfect and making sure that what's coming about is the best for the student body. So yeah.
Thank you very much. And finally, what ideas do you have for this position?
The biggest idea I have is I know Senate like mentees coming up with INC committee. I know that writing your first piece of legislation can be very terrifying or very unfamiliar at first for new senators. So I think that working with INC to do like a Senate mentor-mentee legislation project would be really fun. If the mentors are already working on legislation and the mentees haven't previously worked on any of that, I think that it'd be great for them to collaborate so that there can be some more like one-on-one guidance throughout that whole process. As well as if like the Senate mentees have an idea that they want to work on but just don't really know where to start, I think it'd be great to have that one-on-one guidance through that process. And then another one is, I know that the rules and procedures handbook can be quite extensive, just in the interest of promoting transparency to the student body, as well as to the rest of the Senate. I think it'd be great to bring like a small judiciary handbook, just like a one-page thing, and I've looked into kind of what might go into that, and I've seen that Section C of Rule 6, Section 8, and then Section C of, or Section D of Rule 10 kind of encompasses the biggest parts of the legislative process as well as judicial review.
All right, great. We'll now move into the technical questions portion. Do you have any questions for us before we begin?
No.
Okay. So what are the 5 criteria for reviewing all legislation?
It's going to be constitutionality, clarity, implication, legality, and then format.
And what is the procedure for reviewing legislation in the Judiciary Committee?
It's going to be 5 minutes of presentation by the author sponsor, 5 minutes of Q&A, 5 minutes of debate among the committee, and then 2 minutes of final privilege.
And what can the Judiciary Committee move to do to legislation besides pass it, or besides amend it, excuse me?
They'd be able to pass, fail, postpone, and table it.
All right, do you have any questions for us?
No, I don't.
All right, thank you. We appreciate you taking some time in your Sunday.
Thank you for taking time for me.
Thank you.
Sorry, I have my glasses on. All right. We are now in line for Taylor Dees for the Open Judiciary Committee seat. That's for that one. Oh, God.
Because you can't just plug them. I know you can.
Who won?
I went to Fresh Kitchen the other day here in Gainesville. Someone took me, and they filled a cup with ice and threw it in the trash can.
Really?
I was like, come on, there's no way it's still this bad. And I can't eat Chick-fil-A. That's the only thing.
Yeah, she's so
What?
Volleyball.
I really stayed away from fries. That's
Yeah.
my favorite.
Really?
Yeah.
Hi, good morning.
Hey Taylor, how are you?
Hey.
Thanks for taking some time here Sunday. You know all of us from the Placement and Agenda Committee, and we'll see how we can help you with your application.
Thank you guys for having me.
All right. So how this interview will work format-wise, we'll have 4 minutes to answer some of the open-ended questions, and then unlimited time to do the technical questions. If you have any questions for us now or after at the end, feel free and ask them. Anything before we get started?
I don't think so.
All right, great. So we'll start with the first question of what is your motivation for applying to this seat?
Of course, I'm applying for the Judiciary Committee because I honestly find enjoyment from reviewing legal work and policy. I do it all the time in my major. All I do is just read dense documents, normally old documents, and summarize those, realize the implications, and then typically debate and discuss it. In addition, I really found that I have a passion for research and analysis. This summer when I was working as a law clerk, I did a lot of case law and statute research and had to convey that to attorneys. So I think the Judiciary Committee would really give me a place to put my analysis and research skills to good use.
And what experiences do you have that would make you a good fit for the role?
Of course, so I touched on my summer as a law clerk a little bit. Well, a lot of that was typical office operations. I did have the opportunity to do a good amount of case law research regarding trust and estate litigation. I also got to review Florida statutes, and I would bring that to my attorneys, and this is the relevant case law that I found, and able to summarize that. In addition, here on campus, I serve on the University Libraries Committee, which has given me a place to learn formal committee procedure and what it means to really ask those clarifying questions and just conduct myself in a professional setting. Additionally, just on campus I've had education roles, whether that's through flipping the system, whether that's through GASP, where I do have to conduct research and then present on that. So I think all those experiences will really allow me to engage in meaningful debate within the Judiciary Committee and ask meaningful questions of the author.
Okay, thank you. And then what ideas do you have if you were to be selected for the role?
Of course. So I think there's a lot of room within the Judiciary Committee to aid in not only the brainstorming process of drafting legislation, but to also work with other committees. I think could see a lot of collaboration with the Information and Communications Committee. Notably, we have mentor-mentee within Senate, but really getting ahead of that early and pairing our new senators with existing members of the chamber kind of as a legislation buddy. And yes, we can give legislation workshops and tell them what that looks like in theory, but really showing them what that looks like in reality and allowing them to maybe co-sponsor a bill and get their name on something and showing them what it looks like to work on legislation in actuality. In addition, I believe the Judiciary Committee can publish around halfway through the semester kind of common mistakes that they see within legislation, what are some clarity issues we see, what are some issues we see with legality, constitutionality, and give that to our senators to ensure we're receiving the strongest legislation possible coming in.
All right, great. We'll move on to the technical questions now. Any questions before that?
I don't think so.
And what are the so we'll start right now with what are the 5 criteria for reviewing all legislation?
So you have to check it for legality, constitutionality, clarity, format, and implications.
And what is the procedure for reviewing legislation in the Judiciary Committee?
So first, you see 5 minutes presentation by the author or sponsor, and then 5 minutes of questions by the committee, 5 minutes of debate, and then 2 minutes of final implications by the author.
And then what can the Judiciary Committee move to do to legislation aside amend it?
So in addition to amending a bill, they can pass it, postpone it, table it, or fail it.
All right. Any further questions for us?
I don't believe so.
All right, well, thanks for taking some time on your Sunday.
Thank
Appreciate
you
it.
so much for
Thank
having me,
Thank you.
guys.
close the door behind him?
Yeah.
I don't think they're closing it behind themselves.
I think
There's a door stop.
Yeah, I think we propped it,
Oh,
and
which makes sense.
No. Or refill.
did she get locked out?
Yeah, she did.
Thank
No,
you.
it's Jerome. Did you get Jerome was right there, so we were there. Okay.
Hey, Ethan.
Hi.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. How's everything been going?
Good.
Alright, well, thanks for taking some time out of your Sunday to interview with us. So we're the replacement agenda committee. We'll see how we can help you out with your application. Alright. So you're interviewing for the open judiciary committee seat, correct?
That's correct.
So how this interview format will go is you have 4 minutes for the more open-ended normal questions, technical questions, unlimited time for. If you have any questions right now or at the end, please feel free and ask them. So anything before we get going?
Nope.
Alright, great. Hop right into it. So what are your motivations for applying to this seat?
Yeah, I'd say first and foremost is passion on the subject. I still remember being 4 years old, being in my pre-K class, going around asking everyone who they were gonna vote for in the 2012 election. And that's kind of blossomed into a larger passion for the world of politics as well as policy making. And I can see me exercising that passion on the Judiciary Committee. And I believe it would really better help me serve my constituents. It's as well as kind of being able to review this legislation is also just a place to be and talk with some of the most knowledgeable senators, including hopefully the author or sponsor of the bill, about the bill they've created and come in with a good amount of knowledge on a certain bill before it gets to the floor.
And what experiences do you have that you feel would make you a good fit for the role?
Yeah, so first and foremost, for the past 2024 election cycle, I served as an intern for Robin Bartleman's state representative campaign. And after that campaign cycle, after her successful bid to the Florida House of Representatives, I worked on some legislative research for her. So I kind of learned what goes into kind of crafting a bill before it goes into the legislature, and kind of evaluating its various causes, and I feel like some of that would translate to the Judiciary Committee, as well as the 2 times I've clerked for the committee. I really feel like I've gotten a good experience understanding the like dynamics of the committee, and the level of knowledge and preparedness that every single member brings to these meetings.
Alright. And finally, what ideas do you have if you were to be placed on the committee?
Yeah, so my first idea, something I was kind of inspired actually when I was clerking for the committee, that is a mandatory grammar check for every single bill. So you'd have to like send a screenshot or something when you submit the legislation, it's proving it has a certain threshold of a score on this grammar check. Here's 2026. We have various internet tools to help us use proper functions of English, and I've seen too many bills just while I was clerking that puts the committee in an awkward situation where you have to decide between, do we fail this bill purely off its grammar mistakes, or do we take the time to amend it repeatedly on something so fundamental as the grammar or spelling of the bill? I actually went in and checked the minutes of the latest meeting that I clerked. One bill was amended 10 times purely just off grammar mistakes. And frankly, I think that's more than anything just a waste of the committee's time. And it's sad that certain bills that are good bills written by otherwise good senators might not see the floor just because of those mistakes. And then a second idea I have is a constitution workshop. You know, the UF Constitution is something that is foundational to obviously how student government is set up here at UF. And it's something that kind of comes into play, obviously, in the Judiciary Committee, and we already have a great legislation workshop that I found very useful as a freshman senator this year, and I think maybe towards the end of that, if there could be a pivot and spend like 5 minutes just going over certain aspects of the Constitution.
No worries, time for getting my flag.
Oh, okay.
Oh wait, that's, sorry, it's for ideas, we're running into technicals, yeah, my fault.
Okay.
Alright, well
It
that's
didn't lie.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's
well,
fine,
it was
that's
my
my
bad.
fault. Alright, so we'll now move into technical questions.
Yeah.
Anything before we get started with those? Alright, so what are the 5 criteria for reviewing all legislation?
Yeah, so there's a constitutionality. Does it fit in with the Constitution, US Constitution, Florida Constitution? Legality, is it legal? Is it standing with various Florida state and federal law? Implication, are there any kind of unforeseen implications of this bill that could look poorly on UF student government or the school in general? Then there's format, is it the whereas clauses where they're supposed to be, is the bill properly constructed? And clarity, is it apparent what this bill is trying to achieve?
Okay, and we will now move on to the second. What can the Judiciary Committee move to do, or excuse me, what is the procedure for reviewing legislation in the Judiciary Committee?
Yeah, so it's first 5 minutes from the sponsor or author explaining the bill, like an introduction, and then 5 minutes question and answer period, followed by 5 minutes of debate, followed by 2 minutes of final privilege.
And what can the Judiciary Committee move to do to legislation besides amend it?
Yeah, they can postpone a bill, table a bill, fail a bill, and pass a bill.
Great, do you have any questions for us?
Yeah, I have one question. Assuming this interview went really well and I was placed nominated for the Judiciary Committee, what is something besides obviously just showing up to meetings as the RNA committee, looking back, thinking to yourselves, wow, Ethan Simon, that was a good nomination, you did a good job on that you could kind of see from me?
I would just say being proactive, even like in your role as a senator, as well as in your role if we were to place you on a committee, for example. Like, I think sometimes people come into interviews and they have a lot of ideas and they're very passionate, and then it's much harder to follow through once they actually get into committee, or they could lose sight of their ideas that they came into Senate wanting to achieve. So I think just never losing sight of your motivations for coming into Senate, regardless of where you end up. It's really important that you stay true to that and that you continue pursuing those interests and ideas.
Well, I would not like to amend the bill 10 times for grammar, so.
There you go.
Well, thanks for spending some
Okay,
time there
thank
with
you
us,
guys for
man.
taking
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too.
Yeah.
Alright, we're now in line for Berkeley Morris for the Judiciary Committee.
Jerome is smart. That's not good.
Wow.
I know, Lisa, Tyler.
Hi. How are you?
Good, right?
Good. Thanks for spending some of your Sunday with us. Appreciate it.
Okay.
We got this. Alright. Pass those around.
Does my hair look okay?
What'd you say?
Oh, he has the camera on my hair, so I don't know.
So my hair looks good too. Alright.
Stop. It looks beautiful.
I see.
Alright, well, we will be hopping into this interview. Thanks for taking the time again. We're the Replacement Agenda Committee. How the interview format will work is we'll have 4 minutes to answer the more open-ended questions, and then unlimited time for technical questions, excuse me. If you have any questions now or at the end, please say so, and is there anything before we get started? All right, great. So we'll hop into it with, what are your motivations for applying to this seat?
So I've been pretty fortunate over my past year and a half as a senior to be able to get involved within the student government. First was serving as a placement senator over the summer, and now as an off-campus senator, as well as a member of the Judiciary Committee over the summer. So I've been able to have these experiences that were really big components of why I even wanted to come to this university in the first place. So being able to make real tangible change on this campus, I've been able to work with a lot of really amazing senators on legislation that I think is going to be really impactful and leave an impact long beyond when I'm a student here, which is a big motivation for me. I've always loved this school growing up. My mom went here, so being able to serve my fellow students now and in the future.
What experiences do you have that you feel would make you a good fit for the role?
So over this past summer, I had the privilege of serving on the Judiciary Committee, and I think a big helpful experience that I had with serving on the committee over the summer was working as a legal intern for about a year and a half, almost 2 years now, crazy. And on this position, I worked doing legal research and working in a professional environment, and doing a lot of activities that strengthened skills that helped me directly within the Judiciary Committee. And then through the experience actually serving in the committee, I learned how to apply the 5 criteria, actually look through legislation, and make sure that we uphold the standards that make our student senate so special.
And then what ideas do you have if you were to be selected for the role?
So I'd love to build on the initiative that IC Committee started with adding a Sunday summary, which would just be a short video clip every week or as much as we could to explain a little bit about the process of the Judiciary Committee, how legislation even goes from an idea through to the Senate chambers, how it makes an impact, the difference between a bill and a resolution, all that stuff, so that everyone understands exactly what goes on to uphold the highest standard of transparency and also make sure that all students are aware of what's going on in the Senate and it doesn't stay such mystery. I'd also like to start a rotating clerk position where you would have a form where senators can sign up, help take meeting minutes, learn more about the Judiciary Committee in a more organized and standard way instead of just if someone can come, because I think it's a really great opportunity for both the committee and senators to get more exposure to what goes on in the Judiciary Committee, gain experience to help them if they decide that this is a position for them, but also help the committee to be able to really focus on doing their job as committee members besides having to juggle like taking meeting minutes and also uphold all of the values of the Judiciary Committee. There's a lot to have to do at once. I did it and my head was kind of scrambling a little bit, so having someone to be able to learn from this experience will also take some of that pressure off.
Alright, we'll now move into the technical questions. So what are the 5 criteria for reviewing all legislation?
Constitutionality, legality, format, clarity, and implication.
And what is the procedure for reviewing legislation in the Judiciary Committee?
There's 5 minutes of presentation from the sponsor or the author of the legislation, then there's 5 minutes of Q&A, 5 minutes of debate, and then 2 minutes of final privilege.
And what can the Judiciary Committee move to do to legislation besides amend it?
You can pass it, fail it, postpone, or table it.
Alright, do you have any questions for us?
That's all for me.
Alright, well thank you for spending some time with us, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thanks.
We're almost there.
Not really.
No.
Close, no.
Well,
We're doing it.
Yeah, we have a 10-minute in the middle.
Should we one
well,
person?
Not really.
Not anymore.
you're one closer.
I think we also
Have a good
we're also
weekend.
supposed to interview Taylor before the
Yes.
I-
Taylor Blythe. Next week. Actually, technically, yeah, because we're just it's behind, yeah.
Yep.
So we can, if y'all are okay with it, we can finish out interviews because we would only then have like after Taylor 15 more, and then we can take the break before executive noms.
That's fine.
Okay.
just power through.
I'm using my resume for this.
The noms, so believe Jerome redacted the info for all of them.
For the email that I got, or he says that he's.
That, I think he said he was gonna send it to
Okay.
us. I could be wrong, but how are you?
Good, how are you?
Mr. Taylor, thanks for taking some time of your Sunday with us.
Of course, thank you for having me.
Alright. So, how this interview will go, and you're interviewing for the Judiciary Committee, correct? Okay, great. How the format of this interview will go is you'll have 4 minutes to answer the more open-ended questions, and then an unlimited amount of time to answer the technical questions. And if you have any questions for us now or at the end, feel free to ask them, but anything before we get started?
Nothing for me.
Alright, great. We'll hop into it with, what are your motivations for applying to this seat?
So I've always wanted to apply for the Judiciary Committee, and I've been motivated to apply this time around because the judiciary has a responsibility and a commitment that legislation that's put onto the Senate floor is clear, it's concise, and it holds within the Constitution of the Senate. I believe that the Judiciary Committee serves as almost as a gatekeeper of the legislative process, so to speak, and to ensure that we maintain the trust of the student government. This will improve the quality and legitimacy of legislation, and that's something that I'm very motivated by and something that I would like to be a part of.
Great. What experiences do you have that you feel would make you a good fit for the role?
I feel like one great experience that I was a part of that would make me fit for the Judiciary Committee is my judicial internship within the Middle District of Florida. When I worked there, my main role was reviewing pages and pages of legal documentation, and it definitely got to a point where it was incredibly overwhelming, but I was forced to learn so much about the different legislation and legal jargon that was brought into the House and into the different judges that I worked for. And through that, I learned how such small words and such minuscule things can make a big impact within legislation. And it's important that we review all of these things to ensure that we have a large impact onto campus, onto the student body. Additionally, when it comes to my internship within the judicial internship, I learned that we have a wide variety within our student senate. So we have people from freshmen all the way to graduate students. So we are encountering a large variety of vocabulary. It's important onto the committee that we understand how to interpret that and how to best bring that back to the Senate so they're able to vote accurately and efficiently as well. But my proudest impact that I've had on this campus, the proudest role that I've served, is absolutely as the College of Liberal Arts and Sciences Senator. And this is because I've been able to see firsthand how this legislation has been practical in people's day-to-day lives. I've been able to go out onto campus and speak with my constituents and see which legislation was impactful and was effective on their lives and which legislation not so much. So by understanding that firsthand and bringing that to the committee first, we're able to understand which legislation will have a positive impact on the body and which legislation not so much.
Alright, and what ideas do you have if you were to be selected?
Yes. So some of the ideas I have if I were to be selected to the committee would be to make legislation easier to review and debate by reducing that vague or inconsistent language. And this is something that I definitely learned within my internship that a lot of lawyers and judges as well use. And I think the best way that this would be implemented was to create almost like a checklist for senators to use. And this would include consistent formatting, defined terms, and enforcement language in order to make sure resolutions and legislation are standardized as well. Along with this, I believe that the Judiciary Committee could serve as more of an early stage advisor as opposed to the last stage of legislation before it hits the Senate floor. And by doing this, we could encourage senators and sponsors of bills to consult the Judiciary Committee early when drafting more complex legislation. I know this is something I wish I would have done. I definitely saw the Judiciary Committee as something that the last step or the last obstacle as opposed to people I could come to. So I would definitely love to enforce that when speaking to the rest of the senators. Additionally, we could offer informal pre-reviews almost to make sure that people are understanding what they're bringing and understanding what their legislation entails. And then finally, my final idea for if I was accepted onto the Judiciary Committee is help senators understand why their bill was or wasn't legally sound, especially when it comes to the Constitution. I know especially in this day and age,
that is time.
Okay.
No worries.
Sorry.
So we'll now be moving on to the technical questions portion. Anything you wanted to say or ask before we get into that? Okay, great. All right, so we'll start start with, what are the 5 criteria for reviewing all legislation?
Yes, 5 criteria is constitutionality, legality, implication, clarity, and format.
Great, and what is the procedure for reviewing legislation in the Judiciary Committee?
So there's 5 minutes of presentation, 5 minutes of question and answer, 5 minutes of debate, and then 2 minutes of final privilege from the authors.
And then what can the Judiciary Committee move to do to legislation besides amend it?
Yes, they can pass, fail, postpone, or table.
All right, do you have any questions for us?
No, thank you so much for the opportunity.
Well, thank you for spending some of your Sunday with us. We
Yes.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Y'all have a great day. Thank you so much.
You look very cute.
Oh, thank you.
Okay. Kyle?
Is Kyle Conger for the open graduate seat.
Come on in, and you can sit in the middle.
Where am I? In the middle right there?
Hey, Kyle.
Perfect. Good morning, good morning. How y'all doing?
Good morning.
Good.
Hopefully you're not going too fast.
No worries. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
So we're the replacement agenda committee. So what we do is try and whenever people interview for an open seat, open committee seat, etc., just take their application, ask them a couple of questions, and see if we can help place them.
Sure, I'm happy to answer any questions you have.
All right, great. So how this interview format will work is you'll have 5 minutes to answer 3 questions. They're relatively open-ended, just helps us know a little bit about your motivations, your experience, and then some ideas that you have. So if you're ready to get into it, we can start
Let's
now.
do it.
All right, great. So what are your motivations for applying to the Student Senate?
Well, I think a big thing is in undergrad, I primarily focused on building my business. And I built a lot of really strong business relationships with FSU and with a lot of the board of governors and the different faculty and administration there. And I found that I really, if I had more time, I wanted to do it in undergrad, but I didn't take the initiative because of the kind of time cost. And now that I'm here for my MBA, it's a little less intense than I was expecting. So I want to use the opportunity to give back and to use my skills and my extensive background to really be able to provide something special and help no Freudian slip, to help UF grow to that next level and to be able to help people. For me, my background is primarily in workforce development, AI, and sales strategy. So for me, I'm very passionate about using different new ways and techniques and technologies to allow for students and especially young people to grow to reach that next level.
Right, and you kind of touched on this already, but what experiences do you have that you feel would make you a good fit for the role?
Sure, absolutely. I think that, well, for starters, I think that the one that shows my kind of ability to navigate the educational system is signing FSU as a client as a junior in college, where I formed a partnership with the entire College of Business as well as different programs, including the MBA and the sales programs, to provide technologies to help the students. And I was told in advance that would be probably a 4 or 5 year process. And by building the relationships and helping meet their needs, I was able to do that very quickly. So I think that the kind of speed of work that comes from that allows for me to really come in and be very effective in the year and a half I have left as a grad student. Additionally, I've overseen teams of over 100 people. I've built businesses and had clients in the Florida 500. I've built sustainability measures for the US Senate, and I have a background in things that people kind of find boring, like insurance and government relations. I have a real passion for it, so I think that allows for me to really come in and use these very odd experiences like insurance and apply the kind of techniques that we use there dynamically.
Great, and then what ideas do you have if you were to be selected for the role?
Well, a friend and mentor of mine, his name's Kevin Little, he is on the board of governors at FSU for their College of Business. And something that he had pointed out, and many other people I've spoken to, was that they really wish that there was a deeper level of collaboration between the universities, because in their mind, any student that's graduating from Florida, UF, Miami, that all these schools, they all have the same students that they're trying to help and build into the next generation of the Florida workforce. So by having kind of collaborative measures that really help people and can I guess, leverage the shared networks to make it so that we can compete in the job market that is essentially incredibly broken by having the kind of relationships that come only from that interconnectivity that the more students in the 3 schools can get placed. So a big priority I have is finding ways to help people really just hone in and get those jobs that effectively feel impossible. I know for me, I'm the youngest person in the MBA program by about 5 years. I'm 23. I was recruited right out of undergrad. Well, the average age is 29 in our program. And for me, I've applied to 200, 300 jobs and internships. And even with my network, even with my experience, it's been a very long ride. And I know that if I'm feeling that way with someone with my background, I can't imagine how lost other people here at UF or at the other schools must feel. So by being able to expand and use that kind of mixed network and apply it so it helps everyone, I'd like to really put forward policies for deeper collaboration between the different universities.
All right, well, we'll move on to some technical questions, and this isn't a committee seat interview. So do you have any questions for us?
Well, I think that the first question is obviously what is the expected time commitment? Because obviously, while I do have time, I want to make sure that I have a solid understanding of the expectations. And in addition, I'm curious to what level, I guess, the College of Business and the Graduate College of Business are involved in this. Because I saw online, I didn't really see anyone that was representing any of the major Warrington, Hoff College of Business kind of students.
Well, so we actually do have College of Business senators. We have senators specifically for College of Business, 3 of them, I believe, as of right now. Currently, we have an accounting senator as well. As far as graduates go, we have the graduate seat you're applying for. There's one open, and then I believe 10 others. So quite a few members in the Senate who are graduate students as well. And then as far as time commitment goes, you'll have your Tuesday meetings, which start at 7:30 on Tuesdays. Those go, I would say on average, 2 hours, 2.5 hours, so around there, right? And then if you decide to apply for a committee, if you would then be accepted onto that committee, they would probably meet once a week, once every 2 weeks. Depends on the length for each one of those, but it would just probably be 1 extra day. So typically you're just looking at about 1 day a week, and then whatever you decide to pursue as far as legislation, those meetings and setting up meetings with administration would be separate hours as well.
Okay, perfect. That makes a lot of sense. Do you have any questions about my background? Because I know that I have a lot on it that's very diverse, so I'm curious if there's any clarification you need about my kind of expertise.
Not for me, we went through your application and your resume, so I think we have what we need on our end.
Okay.
We appreciate it. Thank you for taking a lot of your
Thank you so
Sunday.
much.
Of course. I hope you all have a great rest of your day.
Bye, have a great day.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, we are now in line for Savannah Rodriguez. Let me make sure which seat.
Freshman.
Freshman, thank you. Okay, so then the rest, I believe all of the remaining applicants will be the freshman seat. Yeah. I tried to order them that way where I grouped them all together.
I think there's only 2.
I mean, we can ask them
I
when they
think
come in,
this
so.
is just, I don't know what's going on with that.
Okay. Yes, Savannah Rodriguez.
You can sit right in the middle.
Hi.
Hi.
All right. Well, thank you for taking some of your Sunday to join us. We appreciate it. So Savannah Rodriguez, correct?
Yes.
And you're applying for the freshman seat?
Yes.
All right, great. So how the format for this interview will work is it's 3 questions, in 5 minutes.
Okay.
Just going into a little bit about your background, some of your motivations, etc.
Okay.
we're gonna try and get to know you a little better.
Okay.
Alright, great. Do you have any questions before we get started? Alright. So what are your motivations for applying to Student Senate?
So I'm motivated to apply for Student Senate because I really believe students should have a meaningful voice in what affects their academic and campus experience. And I feel like student government is the place to start for that, and I want to make sure underrepresented students are reflected in Senate, and I feel like student government is a good place to start.
Wonderful. Alright, what are your experiences that you have that you feel would make you a good fit for this position?
So my prior experiences really focus on advocacy and handling sensitive situations thoughtfully. I worked with foster families and children in an organization in South Florida, and I also worked with the Best Buddies organization. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with, but I was president of those two, and I also worked with youth ministry for my church back at home. So I'm experienced in handling sensitive situations thoughtfully, like I said, and it really taught me the importance of listening to others in order to accurately represent them. And I also shadowed physicians in emergency care, which exposed me to high pressure environments where ethical decision making and quick learning were essential. And I feel like all these skills would translate well into Senate work.
Great. And then what ideas do you have if you were to be selected for the role?
If I were to be selected, I would focus on transparency and accessibility. I feel like a lot of students feel disconnected from student government just because they don't really know what's happening or how it affects them. So I would focus on, I want to help stronger communication through clear legislation and promoting opportunities for student feedback, and possibly working with student orgs, especially ones that support underrepresented students. That way, all perspectives are reflected in Senate discussion.
Okay, great. Those are all the prepared questions we have. I mean, do you have any questions for us?
Yes, I have a question. It's kind of off topic. Do you need a certain number of credit hours for this position?
To serve in Senate? Yes, so it's technically, you can actually have a different amount of credit numbers, you just have to be registered as a full-time student.
Oh,
For most people, that's 12, if you
Okay,
have
okay.
exemptions or waivers for.
okay, it's just because I was outside and
For the
Oh,
fresh-
she means for the
seat-
freshman seat,
The freshman
sorry.
seat, you have to have between 0 and 29.
is that currently my amount of credit hours, or like when I was an incoming student?
Now,
The ones you earned throughout of high school, and then the ones you've already earned. Sorry, I thought you were talking about class
so if you
credit
have
hours.
over 30, then you wouldn't be able to qualify for this seat.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Of course.
Have a good one.
Bye. No, but the thing is that we don't do eligibility checks until after.
That's
so
right.
they roll after.
Yeah. Sorry, I thought you meant like class credit hours you have to be taking. It's like, what? Thank you.
Yep.
Alright. We will now move into Ayana Kasi. I apologize for mispronunciation.
Is it Anaya?
Anaya? I'm sorry.
We're gonna go with that.
She's also a freshman seat.
Awesome. Should we preface those things?
So,
Should we preface those things?
I mean,
I
technically,
would ask.
yeah, we don't do eligibility checks till after, but yeah.
Yeah.
But
I
yeah, we
remember
can,
last semester we would always ask just to make sure.
yeah.
Should we just ask them how many credit hours?
If they know that they have.
I mean,
other-
she didn't say it like it was a problem, so.
Her face though, she seemed a little like,
Also, no offense, but like a lot of people come in with, especially with high school, like AP credits,
Yeah.
yeah,
like over 30s.
What's the thing with dual? How does that dual work with the,
I don't know.
I don't know.
or not dual, I'm sorry, what's the
You can
other
say
program? Cause I know they count
My
certain ones,
My
right?
husband's probably for you.
It's full of them.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Alright, and you're interviewing for the freshman seat, correct?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. So we'll go through a bit of how this interview works, so it's just 3 questions in 5 minutes, and it's just a little bit about your background, some of your experiences, etc. So we can hop right into that if you are ready.
Yes.
Should we preface this with the
Yeah.
credit hours?
I would.
Okay, so there are a certain number of credit hours that the freshman seat is classified by. So do you know how many UF credit hours you have?
Is that including like credits before
High
high
school,
school?
yeah.
High school as well, yeah.
Okay. I believe it's
it doesn't count the ones you're taking right now either. It's just completed credits.
Oh, completed credits, so it would include high school and fall.
Include high school and fall. Yes.
I believe it's like 20 something.
Perfect.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Awesome.
there'll be eligibility checks will happen later if, you know, you were
Alright.
to be appointed to the position,
Okay, I'll
but
double check as well.
yeah, we just, you know, if you had like 70, we would tell you it's a different interview.
Yeah.
Okay, great, so we can continue. Alright, so, yeah, 3 questions in 5 minutes, just a little bit more about your background, and if you have any questions for us, please ask them now or at the end, either or.
Got it.
Anything before we get into it?
No, I'm ready.
Alright, great. So what are your motivations for applying to the Student Senate?
Right, so, student government in UF is such a big deal and it affects the lives of every student. And as someone who's been involved throughout high school and in college so far, I really want to take on a higher position to represent freshmen and have a bigger position to advocate for these freshmen. I know at UF, like with so many opportunities, it can feel overwhelming. It for sure did for me coming into it. So, someone who has a little bit more experience now, I would like to make sure students who come in and at this point freshmen who even feel like it's a completely new environment and they feel overwhelmed, for them to be more comfortable. And I would just really like to be that source of representation and advocacy.
And what experiences do you have that you feel would make you a good fit for the role?
So currently at UF, I'm the marketing director for Florida Undergraduate International Law Society. So that involves a lot of teamwork, opening up my ideas to the executive board, but also working with a smaller team to hear their ideas and make sure they feel inclusive. And I'm also part of the Pre-Legal Honor Society as a poli-sci major. So that also includes a lot of like networking and building relationships, which I believe is important for student government and this position of freshman senator. And throughout high school, I have experience like interning with the state representative or representing my school at like a student summit. So that representation, advocacy, and even just listening to diverse perspectives and combining it together so everyone feels like they have a place on campus.
And then what ideas do you have if you were to be selected for the role?
Right. So one of my ideas would be a freshman check-in throughout the semesters, fall and spring, because I feel like a lot of new information can get lost after you start school and once you get through preview, because preview is usually like at the beginning of summer and a lot of information that freshmen hear can get lost. So I would ensure that these freshmen know that their resources are still available to them and how to access them, because it can get lost and they wouldn't have any idea, and it's hard to go back to that setting of preview when they first felt welcome. And my second idea would also be a forum style freshman like communication hub. So other freshmen can exchange their ideas, and for me personally, it felt like difficult to get involved in certain activities in the middle of the semester compared to the beginning of the semester. So I would hope that these freshmen can communicate with each other and still know that there are opportunities available for them to get involved in their campus if that's what they're looking for, especially if they felt overwhelmed at the beginning of the semester with so many opportunities.
Alright. Well, those are all the scheduled questions we have. Do you have any for us?
Yes, this is my first time running for student government, so I was wondering for the freshman seat in particular, is it an election process or is it just like an interview?
Okay, so the replacement identity committee is a committee that replaces seats that are open during the time.
Okay.
So right now is a freshman seat open because somebody had to leave like at that point,
Right.
so it's a vacant seat. This is why we're giving you an interview right now.
Okay.
But let's say you wanted to run, let's say you didn't have a seat at all, and we elected 50 new senators in the spring and fall. If you ran in the spring election, then you would have to like go through an election process, campaign, all of that. But this is now just an interview process because it's a vacant seat currently. That makes sense.
Okay, that makes more
Yeah.
sense, thank you.
And it's a 1-year term, so the freshman seat would be spring. That's why the spring seat it's open in the spring because that person has 1-year term.
Okay, so if I were to get the seat, would I have to run again in the spring for the next following year?
Yes.
Okay,
So it ended that spring term starting.
alright, got it.
Just to clarify, you would have to, if you were to get the seat, you have to run this election cycle this semester.
Yeah.
Alright,
To
okay.
like rerun through the election cycle. I just wanted to clarify that.
Okay, so this spring as well.
Mhm.
It would be,
Yeah.
the elections are February 24th, so you, and then there are different dates to register and et cetera, but most of them are coming up within the next couple weeks.
And all that information we found on the student government Instagram.
Alright, so I just wanted to
Yeah,
double
absolutely.
check one more time. So like, is my selection based on this interview or the
Interview.
The interview.
election?
The interview is for the next couple, like, let's say you didn't run in the upcoming election
Okay,
in
yes.
February. You would serve out your term from, if you were to be selected here, until the validation of the election results, which would be March 7th. So you'd have about a month in Senate.
Okay.
And then, that's if you choose not to run. If you get the position here today, and then you also choose to run and you win, then it would be extended for the length of another year,
Okay.
right? If you get the position, losing the election, then you would still
So
also
this
go out
position
March
would be
7th.
like just for the time being before the election.
For the next 4
Yeah.
weeks, basically.
That makes more sense. Alright,
Mhm.
thank you so much.
Of
Thank
course.
you.
Yeah, thank you for spending some of your Sunday with us.
Thank you.
Appreciate
Appreciate your time. Have a good rest of your day.
Thank you,
You
too.
too.
Alright, we have Sachin Sundaram for the open freshman seat as well. Sachin.
It's on.
Sachin?
Mhm.
Okay.
Terrible eyes. I just hate that.
But like, I don't know if that is like significant. Anyways. You can sit right in the middle.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So we'll do
Done.
Hey, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you guys.
Thank you for spending some time out of your Sunday with us.
Of course, thank you for the opportunity.
Yeah, absolutely. And you're interviewing for the freshman seat, correct?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. All right, so I'll go through a bit of how this interview format will work. So for these applications, it's 3 questions that we ask, and 5 minutes is the time you have to answer them. If you have any questions for us now or at the end, just say so, and we'd be happy to answer them. And anything else before we begin? That's it from me. Oh, yeah, thank you. So the freshman seat, it goes by credit hours. It's not just based on what grade you're in. So do you know how many credit hours approximately you have?
So I looked it up before this because I read the website.
Wonderful.
Last semester I took 15 and this semester I'm taking 17.
It doesn't count this semester.
Yeah, this semester.
Alright, so
And then
15 last.
Did you have any from high school? that brought up?
I had some AP credits, but that's about it.
Okay,
It
alright.
should, it should, well, there's eligibility checks later, but if you think you're in the range, it should be fine.
Alright, great. Okay. So if you're ready, we can hop into the 3 questions.
I'm ready.
Great. Alright, so what are your motivations for applying to the Student Senate?
Well, when I first came into UF seemed really large to me. Like, it was kind of hard to like network with my fellow freshmen. I live in Beatty Tower, so it was just kind of hard like meeting people in general. So when I saw this, I was in student government like my entire high school career. So I was like, this is a dream come true because like, I want to make UF seem smaller for like other freshmen coming in, and I want to make it easier for them to meet like other freshmen and meet new friends and have a more successful first semester. So that's my motivation for applying.
Alright, and what experiences do you have that you feel would make you a good fit for the role?
I've been in student government since middle school. So I was a secretary starting from 6th grade, where I helped plan like our middle school events, like dance functions, decorating the halls, and I really loved leadership. So I kept doing it throughout my high school career too, where I started off as a secretary there. I moved on to the senator position sophomore year.
And then I decided to level up with my best friend who now goes to FSU. So he's not my best friend anymore. So he ran for president and I ran for vice president, and I was fortunate enough to get elected, and that was one of the best experiences of my life. Because I got to plan prom, I got to oversee committees, and it was incredible. Like, I loved leadership. So my semester here, I pledged Kappa Phi Epsilon, and I had the privilege of being elected service chair. And leadership here is just as amazing, and I think I would love to grow my leadership abilities here, and I think that my experience gives me a lot of qualifications for this role.
Great. And then what ideas would you have if you're to be selected for the position?
Well, I would like more like freshman exclusive events if I were to be elected to this position. So what I mean by that is I would like more events just for freshmen throughout the semester, like not really at like just the beginning of the semester, where freshmen can like go ahead and meet other freshmen, they can learn more about other clubs. And I would also like more club fairs to cater like just to freshmen like throughout the semester. So it gives them more of an opportunity and they don't really miss like the window at the beginning of the semester and then have to like wait until next semester, if that makes sense.
All right, great. And those are all the questions that we have scheduled. Do you have any questions for us?
Nope.
All right, great. Well, thank you for taking some time on your Sunday with us. We appreciate it.
Of course, thank you for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, thank you.
All right. We are now in line for Gavin Ransom for the freshman season. Bless you.
Excuse me, wow.
Ooh, yeah, I don't know if I could survive that.
Hey, Gavin.
Hello,
How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. Thanks for spending some of your Sunday with us. We
Of
appreciate
course.
it. So you're applying for the freshman seat, correct?
That is correct, yes.
Okay, great. Do you have an approximate number of credit hours that you've earned both in high school and then your first semester?
I would just be 15. I did take some dual credit, although none of it has been transferred as of yet.
Okay, great. We just like to give an approximate because the freshman seat is by credit hour rather than grade level, so thank you. Okay, and how this interview will work, it's three pretty open-ended questions, kind of about your motivation experience. We just want to get to learn a little more about you. You'll have 5 minutes to answer those, and then from there, if you have any questions about what we do or about the Senate as a whole or anything else, feel free and ask. But if nothing, we'll get started.
All right, perfect.
All right, great. So what are your motivations for applying to the Student Senate?
Well, I've always been very committed to service and to do the most that I can for any community that I've been in, and that kind of dates back to very young. My oldest brother has a severe autism, and I can remember being a child and going to autism awareness things and things of that nature. And then I've really been motivated recently because I had a bit of a health scare about last year. I was in the hospital for a heart attack, and it really made me realize that I've got to act now and do as much as I can for my community and for everybody I can now.
All right. And what experiences do you have that you feel would make you a good fit for the role?
Well, I have some experience in high school, although I don't believe I did as much as I really should have. That prepared me for this role. National Honor Society, Key Club, other volunteering work. But I think that what qualifies me best is my work in cabinet. I've gotten a little bit of a feel for student government. I've really enjoyed it, and yeah, and I want to continue that work in a more meaningful manner.
And what ideas would you have for the Senate if you were to be selected for the role?
A lot of my ideas that I've had are centered around health and safety, and also making sure that students just have a bit of an easier time. A couple of the ideas I had were painting the bike lanes green to prevent any, it's very hard to differentiate, especially at night, if somebody's driving and somebody else is on a bike, that they could be hit or anything like that. Also to partner with the rights to sell bike helmets, as every time I see somebody riding on a bike, nobody's wearing a helmet, and that can be a bit dangerous. Some other ideas I had were to partner with Lyft or Uber to offer transportation options at a discounted price during school hours. I believe we do that at night, but I don't think we do that during school hours, and that could be beneficial to give another option of transportation. And also to keep dorm area markets open later for a lot of freshmen. There's not a lot of eating areas on campus, and if those were open later, especially like during finals week, that would be beneficial to their day-to-day.
Thank you. That's it for the scheduled questions that we have. Do you have any questions for us?
I don't believe I do that.
All right, well, we appreciate you spending some of your Sunday with us.
Of
Thank
course.
you very much, Ben.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you.
Y'all have a great day.
No, I believe they're also in person. Let me check here. Next we have Brandon, one second, Almonte, for the freshman seat. I can check the phone interview sheet again, but yeah, no.
Perfect. Let me fix the door. I don't see anyone.
The last
Uh,
of the day.
I know.
Well,
I mean, because it's for freshmen, so it's not like they would expect it to be upstairs.
Right.
well, I have the rights room number. They can always, I sent them the email too.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, that's what I'm
yeah.
saying though.
We can wait. Want to do 5 minutes and then check again and then?
Sure.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Do 5 minutes, check again, and so we'll go from there.
Oh well.
Then we'll lay the committee at rest, take a break, and then we'll come back for executive noms.
Do you think, because we're running behind, they could have gone to the bathroom or something?
Yeah, they could have gone to the bathroom. We can.
Yeah, phone is.
They didn't provide a phone number.
Yeah.
Some of them did, but some of them did not. On their application sheet. Oh, actually, he did provide a phone number. Let's call him.
Fine.
There we go. Went to voicemail. He has an alternate phone number on here. I can call that. I'm worried that that's gonna be his parents, but I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Because this way we can say we tried every method of contact, so. Okay. Well, that went straight to voicemail, and yeah, I guess we'll give him 3 more minutes, and then, you know, we'll move on.
Oh, he's doing both. Cause he's on the other one, which like isn't allowed.
No.
Wait, that's not
No,
allowed.
you can, oh yeah, credit-wise, you can't apply for both, yeah.
No,
you're
no,
right.
no, for this, for Brad and Nancy. That I don't think is allowed.
Yeah, well, it's not. So then, we could approve him for one or the other,
For ASOE or the opposite.
either one. I mean,
I'm like, I wish we knew, cause then we could actually get a preference.
well, we can take, there's also not a preference list on the website,
I
so,
know.
yeah.
Cause they're completely separate.
Yeah.
Just go by what you think his skills would be better fit for, and then when we get to his nomination, we can go by that.
I mean, this is the same as the other one.
I don't think I
Wheel.
I would also take into account that if they were nominated by an executive officer, you know, that probably means they'd like them on their team, so.
That's fair.
I could also call him.
There's 2 separate ones.
He provided a phone number too, I believe, so I could call him and ask, does he have a preference for if,
Are we allowed to do that?
actually, I don't know. I don't know if we can ask people their preference. Yeah, let's not.
I don't wanna like.
Yeah,
Just-
let's.
you just
let's
start pressing
do
it.
that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Can you send that to me?
I can try to forward you the email.
Alright, 1 more minute and we can go take a look.
Oh wait, I do have it.
Oh, look. Yeah, they're from me.
I was looking at the wrong one. I was gonna say. Oh, nope, I don't have permission.
Oh wait, go back. Try this. Yeah.
Bang. Thank you.
Okay, I'll go and stretch my legs a little bit.
Sounds good.
Let's go see. We're looking for Brandon, sorry. Excuse me.
Brandon?
Why am I scared for Brandon?
Bro.
Brandon's in trouble.
I know, I didn't yell. Maybe I should. Oh my god. Brandon? Yeah, there.
I said Mr. Almonte too, you know.
Maybe he only responds to formal
Let's see.
address.
I get it. Alright,
Oh, Mr.
so
Bravo.
seeing it,
Pro
please don't call me
tempore.
that. No.
That's crazy.
Pro
So-
tempore, bro.
This makes me feel really old. Seeing as Mr. Almonte is not shown for his interview, did not fill out the phone contact form. Phone interview contact form, we contacted him by phone with no response. We will now be moving on to executive nominations. Do I hear a motion to lay the committee at rest till called back by chair?
So moved by unanimous consent.
That has been so moved by unanimous consent. Are there any objections? Seeing none, the motion passes.